So now tell us about your Naomi bar.
Oh, Phil.
What?
See, I'm
Cannot
not the only one.
believe you said that way. Have I
Well,
not
that's how
talked to you
it's
before?
spelled.
Nanaimo bar.
Nanoma.
Nanaimo.
Nanaimo.
Well, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have read it off. Just let me talk about
Yes,
it, and then you
please.
wouldn't get your foot in your mouth about it.
Gdayall, and welcome to episode 73. Oh, Canada.
Okay, yes. So, one of my favorite countries.
Yes,
There we
well,
go.
we have a lot of Canadian people that we love.
Mhm. They're so friendly.
They are, and apologetic.
Much more than some of our other customers.
Oh, yes. God bless the Canadians, truly. Very good friends. And you've got a connection with a lot of people because of hockey as well as the store. So now it's a bit special today, Phil, because we have our first guest since episode 22.
Wow, 50 episodes ago.
I know.
That's a long time.
That
What
is
are we
a-
doing here?
And that was with one of our favorite Canadians, Penny Bunce,
Yep.
who talked to us about cakes. Now, we have, one of your friends, so you can tell us about Dina from Vancouver.
Well, Dina, is from Vancouver. She's from the golden city of Vancouver. Beautiful place. If you had never been there, nice weather.
Looks pretty.
It is pretty because you're on the water and the mountains in the background.
Mm.
Yeah, easy to get along and get around, and good food and
All the
good
good stuff.
drinking. Yeah.
Well, that's important.
Yes. So, so I know Dina probably now, I would say at least 20 years. Okay. Because Ken was working for a German company and he was transferred from Singapore
Mhm.
into Melbourne. And then he started playing. I met him through ice hockey.
There you go.
And we became friends. And we had another mutual friend that we were very close with. And used to go to a lot of little house things, barbecues and drinking and, just having a grand
All the
old
good
time.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to talking with her. We've
Yeah.
got a few subjects we are going to talk about. So, Canadian versus American food, differences between Canada and the US and here, like in hit all three.
Yeah.
Canadian dishes, foods Dina misses from Canada, foods from the US that she misses. She lived in Texas in the 80s. That would be interesting to hear about that. Some good food,
I
I'm
think she's
sure.
still got a bit of that y'all now.
Like my grandma, y'all come back now,
Yeah.
you hear? And we're going to go look through 17 traditional Canadian foods that you need to try.
Oh,
Well, I like
you
that.
have to go to Canada now.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've got some fun facts.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, you get.
So wheat is Canada's largest crop. Oh, that surprised me because I thought it was canola.
Oh, well, I did.
Canola is it means Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
did not know.
Yeah, there you go. Another Jeopardy question.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
So it's the single biggest export because the plains in Canada go
Right.
for miles and miles and miles. And it's funny, like if we drove with the hockey team,
Mhm.
and which Ken and Dina were so terrific. They set everything up for us, even with their family and stuff, and
Oh, that's
they
beautiful.
treated everybody like saints. But when we drove, so you drive through the Rockies, and then once you get past Banff, then it just goes flat as an iron, until you get to, all the way to Calgary. And you can see just those planes just go on and on and on. Yeah.
Be beautiful, though. Now, fun fact two, Neil Young.
He's been in the news lately.
He has. He's been busy, Neil. I haven't
Yeah.
seen him for a while in the news, and here he is.
Yeah.
Is Canada's most famous musician? Is
Mhm.
he the most famous?
Well, how about Celine Dion?
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, she's
Ah.
probably the richest.
She didn't even make the notable list.
She
Yeah,
did-
that's right.
oh.
What about Katie Lang?
And Michael Bublé.
Oh, true. And, I can't think of her name.
I didn't
She's
know Shania
native.
Twain. Shania Twain. I didn't think
Shania.
Shania.
Didn't
I
you?
always thought she's like a Southern girl.
Well, her husband was Brian Adams, another Canadian,
Yeah.
his producer for years. And then
Wow.
he ended up making time with their best friend, and that was the end of that one. Okay, so we've
And
got
wait, just go back to Neil
Yes.
Neil Young. Buffalo Springfield.
yes.
That came from because some of the big group was from Springfield and some were Buffalo.
I did not know
There
that.
you go.
I learn something every week.
Yep.
And Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Mhm.
Now he is from Ontario, left his homeland long ago, and became an American citizen. And other notable Canadians.
Never.
What?
Never.
Oh, never became an American citizen. Sorry. Notables: Brian Adams, which you mentioned, Joni Mitchell, which we missed, Drake, who cares, Michael Bublé, yes, Alanis Morissette, didn't know.
Yeah.
Shania, but she was a good actress. She was in Weeds. Shania Twain and Leonard Cohen.
I always said he'd be like from New York somewhere.
I did too. See, this is such an educational show for all of us.
We're preparing everybody for the next quiz show.
That's exactly right. Fun fact 3.
Yeah, there are more than 2,800 hockey rinks in Canada. Okay. However, almost twice as many kids under 14 play soccer than hockey, but that changes around after they get to 15.
Yeah.
And then they play more hockey than anything else before soccer and golf. And then after hockey comes golf. But the national game of
Yes.
Canada is lacrosse.
Oh, is it? That's a game where you take someone's head off.
Yeah. It's I went to see a game here, and it is very quick, very fast. The way they pass this ball around, and they wear like hockey gear, okay, because they're bashing each other. Well, in hockey we don't do that, but they're doing this, and it's sort of like if you ever been to Highlight. So they got like this wicket, but it's on like a stick, okay. And they're passing this ball around that's probably the size of a cricket ball and hard as, okay, like it's a basketball. So behind the back, under their legs, and they're picking it up. And how they pass it around. And it's like, pop, pop, pop. It's so quick. Yeah.
I've only ever seen it on TV, have not seen it in person. Now, Canada, fun fact number 4, has competed at every Winter Games, and Olympic Games, and has won at least 1 medal each time.
Yeah. And they're probably just the opposite in the Summer Games.
Canada has hosted the Winter Games twice, Calgary in 1988 and Vancouver in 2010. Yep. Canada also hosted the Summer Olympic Games once in Montreal.
In 76. I remember that very distinctly, that the Montreal Games. Because they made such a big thing about it. They had to do a new train system, I guess, to go from the airport. And the trains ran on rubber wheels.
Oh.
Yeah, to cushion the ride and make it soft and quiet.
Nice. Don't have that. I was 7, so I don't really remember that bit of it. The first Olympic Games I sort of really, really remember is Los Angeles. Now, is Canada good at equestrian events? I'm thinking they are.
Yeah.
In the Olympics.
Winter, yeah.
No, in the summer. No?
I can't. No.
Okay,
it's pretty hard to swim in water that cold.
No.
Or it's frozen.
Equestrian.
Horses.
Back with more after the break.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. And with our special guest, Dina Charpentier. So, Dina, how are you today?
I'm great, Phil.
You're back in Australia.
Yes, been away for 6 months.
6 months. And how was your travel coming back?
Hey, it was easy. I actually came back United, and Polaris Lounges. The one in San Francisco is amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's good to know.
They rate themselves as actually one of the best in the world. And Ken, who travels a lot or has traveled a lot with work, said it was the best. Wow. Business class lounge.
Yeah. Well, the one in LA is pretty good too, the Qantas Lounge.
Yeah, I've been in that one, but this one was better.
And the one upstairs that belongs to Delta does it with Virgin Australia on that one. That's even better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your
really
word.
Nice. So give us a little bit of rundown for our guests out there about all the going-ons about yourself.
Of myself. Oh, okay. I'm here in Australia. I've been here for realized it was 23 years. We've been out of Canada. Yes. And 2 years in Singapore, and then came here, stayed here till 2010, then went back to Singapore for 4 years. So altogether 6 out. but the rest of the time here.
Mhm.
But now that we're retired, we go back and forth because we have one son here, one son there. They both have children, so we spread ourselves around.
Yeah, and so you spend your summers here,
Yeah,
and
your
the
summer,
summer, and the
Australian
winters.
summers, and then Canadian summers, or
Summers.
Northern Hemisphere summers. Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
And then try to travel somewhere in between.
Yeah, you've been to some outrageous places in between
Yeah,
that
yeah.
probably most Americans won't go because you've been to like
Iran.
Yep.
Hey, it's okay there. They're actually really nice people.
Yeah, well, it's only
Politics
the
aside,
government,
I
yeah.
mean, you just have to go with the people. They were absolutely delightful.
Mhm.
Out the car saying, "Thanks so much for coming to our country." We even met Americans there and thought, "Oh, you got in here?" But I don't know. They were on some sort of tour.
Uh-huh.
Been to all the stands, Uzbekistan, and all those. Highly recommend. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
challenging, I think. I know Jeanette would never do that. she's well, anyway, that's another story.
Oh, Phil,
Yes.
Now.
don't do that.
Yeah.
That's right. So now, I think that is amazing to travel in different spots, especially places that people don't usually go to, because you would learn so much, and the food would be interesting, and just
The
everything.
people and
You would just so much.
It's
to take
always
in.
about the people.
Mm.
Yeah.
You come away, and actually, unfortunately, we've been to a few places where just after we left, they've had civil unrest, and you're going, well, how did that happen? Because the people were so lovely. But I say politics, governments, they just get in the way of people just being people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately. Yeah, people can't be people. But like the other thing, like I would always like to go to South America.
Mm.
I don't think
It's
Jeanette
an
would-
easy flight from here.
Yeah, I don't think Jeanette
Yeah.
would want to do that.
No.
If I mentioned that, well, we could go to the Bronx. No, it's not. They speak Spanish, but it's not South America.
If you just
So,
research a little bit,
yeah, no, I
You
have.
can-
You
I
can go on
have.
tours. You can go
Yeah.
on tours if you
Yeah.
want to be like more safe. We like to go not the backpack at in the 60. We're 60ish plus.
Yeah.
Plus 60s, but we still kind of hang around and just do our own thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about what we're here for.
yeah,
Is about the difference between Canada and America, primarily on food.
Hmm.
We're so close, but so far away.
Yeah, there's so many things though that we have the same products in Canada, and you go like, especially if somebody says, "What's a Canadian food?" You go, "Well, what is a Canadian food? We eat hamburgers, we eat fried chicken. We have a lot of the things that sort of are
All the
North
bad American
American
stuff,
sort
yeah,
of stuff, But then what are the differences? Like sort of the little tiny differences, and then you have to kind of get into that.
Now, do you have like in America, like if we go down south, like to New Orleans, the food is so much different than if you go to San Francisco. Do you find that difference like we go in Montreal and
Oh,
Quebec
yes,
and-
definitely. Mind you, I've only been back east a few times.
Mhm.
I went back east in 1976, your bicentennial, with my husband in our VW van with hair halfway down his back. Does he want me to tell that story?
It's still halfway down its back now.
No, it is not. We were hippy dippies, and we did all the way across Canada. So I've been to Montreal then,
Yeah.
and that's it. So I really can't. I went. That was the only time I went there.
Yeah, we
so.
were just talking on our last episode about the Olympics in '76 in Montreal.
Yes, exactly. I went there just after them, so missed that part.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nova Scotia, that area have definitely some food. Lobster's huge over there. Maple syrup and stuff in Quebec, and poutine is comes from Quebec. That's that chips with the gravy and the squeaky cheese on top.
Yeah.
I only really like the squeaky cheese. I don't want the gravy on the chips. But anyway, that's
But
from
the
there.
gravy, I think, for the little bit I had, and we had it a few times when we went to Quebec, and the gravy is what the best one we had. We could say because of the gravy, it was like just superb.
Yeah, I think because I probably had knockoffs in BC because I'm from British Columbia. The gravy wasn't great.
Yeah.
So, but you can now buy that squeaky cheese on its own, and basically it's curds of cheese,
Curds.
and
We sell it.
so
we,
delicious.
Actually, we sell it
We
in,
sell it?
in a shop.
There you go.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I saw it once. And I thought, oh, I've got to get that
Yeah, but it's from
sometime.
Wisconsin. Sorry.
Yeah, well, cheese is cheese. In fact, that's another whole story. But I mean, Canadians go down to the States to get the cheese.
Well, I was just going to interject. My daughter, who's now finished school, so in year 10 or year 11, we had an exchange teacher, so a Canadian teacher. So they had a conversation much like this. She said she would nick over to the States every once in a while and shop. So she was close enough to the border. But what she couldn't, she would go and buy milk because she liked it. She didn't want the milk because she had milk in a bag. So she
I
would go and
know.
get it in the cartons.
Yes.
And then Ainsley in her class, so they tried to tell her what the most Australian thing is, and it was a Bunnings sausage sizzle.
Yeah.
She goes, you need to have a sausage sizzle. And she goes, what's that? She goes, it's a piece of bread with the sausage on it and grilled onions and some ketchup. And that's what
Which
it is.
they call tomato sauce, because if you say, or
That's right.
tomato sauce, because if you say
Tomato.
ketchup, some kids look at you like going, what
This
do you
is
mean?
a safe space here, so we
Yes.
can say, but it's just little things like that. Because she said, my favorite part of shopping in America was some candy that she couldn't get,
Yes.
and milk in cartons, and then they converted her to the sausage sizzle here, which was
In fact, that plastic bag, milk in the plastic bag, I'd forgotten. As a child, we did have that. We don't have it anymore in BC, but I think back east they still do that, and they have the special container to put your bag in so that it pours correctly. And
Interesting.
yes,
Yeah.
different.
When she told me about milk in the plastic, I'm thinking powdered milk.
Yeah, no, real milk. Yeah,
Real milk in a plastic bag.
Anyway, back to your story. I'd say that Alberta's really good for their Angus beef. They have really good beef, so lots of steaks and things are important there. So and like I said, Quebec has its own foods, and I don't know about Ontario.
We'll have to go there. Yeah.
I don't know.
So, yeah, but it's also like I remember when we went on a hockey trip, and how your family and you and Ken like put everything together for us, and it was like we're going to to your sister's house and all that for barbecues. It was just like fantastic. But the things that stood out for me, that like when we went to the restaurants, always on the restaurants was bison. You don't see that in America at all. Every place we went to, they always had bison.
I don't remember that, Phil. You are remembering that. I'm going, yeah, I've seen bison burgers recently, but that's about it. But venison, yes, you see venison on occasion. Yeah.
Yeah. So the bison burgers was one thing I remember. The other one, Ken took us to this country club, I think it was, where the first Caesar was.
Well, I told my sister about that, and she argues with me and thinks it's from Calgary that they first started. And I honestly didn't look it up, so we could do that. But anyway, it's
well, we'll
something,
just say it's from Vancouver.
But the Caesar is definitely a Canadian drink. And in fact, when I first got here and I had my sister and my mom over who do like Caesars, we went to your store to get this, the Clamato juice.
And how is that Clamato anyway?
It's yum. I've got some in my fridge right now.
Well, I actually have I have some in my cupboard that's been there for 2 years. Do you think it's still okay? Anyway, it's
probably
no, it's in the plastic thing. I haven't opened it up.
You haven't cracked it.
No, but my sister.
We should. We might want to test it.
That would be good.
my sister puts in. Used to make it with just celery sticks, but now people put all sorts of crazy things
it's like
in
a
there.
meal on top of it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Pickled beans, pickled
the big strong, the big
asparagus.
String beans,
She'll pickle them on purpose just to put in her Caesars. Yeah. Yum.
My brother-in-law
sounds too healthy.
He went on a tour through Canada, and now he's addicted to Clamato.
Mm-hmm.
He likes the picante one though that we can't seem to get our hands on.
Oh,
I saw him this week. He bought 3 bottles of it. He said, "I just might as well stock up."
Yeah, bit spicy. Yeah.
Hope it don't go bad.
No, that stuff doesn't go bad.
No. Anyway, so and then we go differences. Like the other thing I remember is the Montreal meat.
Montreal smoked beef.
Yeah.
That story about going across Canada, we had to go into Ben's. That was the place you went to. It was a restaurant it was a really cool looking Art Deco restaurant that was sort of on a corner street. So it had that sort of rounded front to the building, and you go inside and it just had the metal stools with the, I don't know whether that plastic or whatever, arborite tables. It was really old and funky. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's no longer there. Yeah, 2006 or something.
But isn't that like they use the triangle buns?
I don't know about the bun, but it was the meat. It was all about the meat, and they would just pile it up about 5 centimeters, 2 inches, 3 inches up, and it would just be all this smoked meat. And what is the difference between Montreal smoked meat and pastrami? Apparently, it's more smoky and not as sweet. And I wouldn't have thought pastrami is sweet, but they don't really add sugar to it or something.
Peppery.
Peppery. And so now Ben's isn't there anymore, but there's a couple of other ones that are still there, and people go specifically just for the smoked meat there. Yeah,
wow.
Yummy.
Yeah, I mean, we had our smoked meat when we went to Costco. At the cafe in Costco. That was our entree to it.
Oh yeah.
So because we were traveling everywhere, if you remember, and we went to Costco to get loads of stuff for like the barbecues to bring stuff and salads and things like that.
Mm.
And that's where we had it. And we went one time, and you'll laugh about this. So we got the food, and we had leftover, and we're in the van, and Stan and Southie went on a bike ride. They rented bikes and went by in Stanley Park. So we had a rendezvous to pick them up. And the joke was, okay, we had these leftover sandwiches or parts of sandwiches. Let's see who grabs them first.
So these guys he's talking about are on this hockey tour that they did. I don't know, what year was that?
Would have been 2009, I think.
Something like that. And they came over, all these Australians who play ice hockey here went over and did all these different rinks, went to all sorts of different games in Vancouver and into Alberta, Calgary and stuff like that. And we were all in those vans, right? Just traveling around and trying all the food and trying the beer, which, by the way, that's another difference. American beer, I don't drink it, but Ken does. And he says it's like watery.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't have the flavor. And in fact, if I am going to have a beer, that's probably the kind of beer I would drink because it is a little less hoppy, whatever. But they're also higher percentages, I think, 5%
of
alcohol compared to
even their light beer is 5% alcohol because it's light in carbohydrates.
Yes,
but the Canadians used to call it a canoe beer because it was near the water.
Okay, if you say so.
Well, that's what I heard.
Okay.
Used to make fun of it.
Yeah.
But now they've gone the whole other way with the IPAs, and which is real hopsy and heavy.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't drink it in the summertime.
And they have so many. In Vancouver, they have so many microbreweries.
Yes.
You can do a little bar hoppy thing all around this one area of kind of actually was a kind of a seedier part of town. Mm-hmm. And now they've just got all these hip hop happening microbreweries there.
That's
and it's really upgraded it. Yeah.
Yeah, no matter where you go, it's always that way, But now so we got the Caesars and the Bloody Marys and the pickles. Pickles. I love pickles.
We've even done a whole show on pickles.
Yeah. Well, even one of the pickles we get, it originated and Bubba's pickles originated from Canada.
Oh yeah.
So it's just something up in that part of the world. They have a lot of pickle growers, or
they would. Yeah. Actually, when I've gone into like somewhere I could buy, I don't know if it was your store, but somewhere I could buy Bicks, Bicks, and I think that might be an American brand as well. I don't know, but I looked on the back, made in Canada. I go, I'm going to like these pickles.
Yeah, it's a lot different than made in India. You see pickles now made in India. So, I don't know. Anyway,
and you know what? There's another difference I want to talk about.
Yeah,
just if you don't mind.
No, go.
M&Ms in America.
Yeah,
but in Canada we have Smarties.
Yes.
So you'd have no M&Ms.
Well, we have M&Ms, yes, but that's an American brand. But Smarties
were your brand.
Well, I think it was.
So there's a lot of crossover between the British candies and the Canadian candies. So Smarties would be one of those as well.
I don't know if they have them in England, but they were like the chocolate inside was different than the chocolate on an M&M, which is more of a dark chocolatey kind of flavor or a different flavor. But I also read, funnily enough, that they do make the Canadian chocolate in like Cadbury's or any of the other, even Hershey's, they make it slightly different, just like they do Cokes around the world. Coca-Cola,
it all tastes a little bit different.
They do a little bit different for Canada. I didn't know.
Yeah, well, it's the cold weather that.
You have cold weather too.
Yeah, but not now. It depends where you live. But it's just saying the M&Ms, the colors and all that. But we had a whole big segment on how it originated and how they got the names M&Ms from Miller and Mars.
Oh, okay.
That was, and how he connived because the other M in the M's was working for Hershey, and then Hershey, he thought he would take over the business when he retired, and he did him out, and he was like the chief CEO, and he thought he would take over, and didn't, and that gave the
that's what
opportunity.
happens.
That's
yes,
what happens.
It happens.
And they made all their money during the war. So now we talked about poutine, and then we got the tortilla.
Tortilla.
Have
you had tortilla?
No, it looks good with what I've done
a
little bit of research.
Okay, so I am a pie maker.
Okay.
I'm going to say that's my forte. I like making pie crusts.
Pies, okay?
Yeah, pie crusts. shortening. Got to use shortening. Not like when I arrived here and went, I want to make a pie. So I go to the store and I buy kofa,
Yes.
thinking that it's shortening, and it's not anywhere near that.
So you're shortening like in large shortening or shortening
I
like
don't
in
vegetable. Crisco. However, we had one called Fluffo. Now I don't even know if you can find that in the stores anymore. There now I only see Crisco, but that was our brand was Fluffo. Anyway, I digress because making a tortilla, you make the crust and then just a crust, and then inside is pork mince, and then you add all these sort of yummy herbs like cinnamon, and it makes it kind of like a Christmassy kind of flavor, and that's why we actually have it on Christmas Eve. Yeah, so it's got cinnamon and a bit of nutmeg and just a little bit of water in there to sort of like, when you make a taco and you kind of put the water in there to soften it all up, steam it up and stuff like that. That's right. And then you put the top on and then you cook it and, put a egg wash on the top, cook it. And
it must smell terrific.
It is delicious. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. See, when I say that, like, pork pie, and the Australians have that, what's that saying? It's a porky pie, means a liar. Yeah. Yeah. But, the only pork pie I had over here is the British ones. And that's completely different.
Completely different. Yeah. Completely different flavor to it. Yeah. And people, Quebecers, I don't know, they might eat it more often, but we would have it on Christmas Eve as just not my family, not my mom and that family. It was just our own tradition from Ken and myself and the kids. We used to have that. Yeah. And it turns out my daughter-in-law's family also do it. And I didn't know them until recently, and they've always done it as well. So we had that this Christmas Eve. It was great.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah.
So any other pies that you make?
Oh, apple pie.
Yeah.
Strawberry rhubarb pie from the garden. Cherry pie, of course, but peach pie, anything that's in season, when it's in season.
Just make a pie out of it.
Yeah, make a pie.
Yeah. Peaches are great right now.
Yeah.
In Australia. They're cheap and they're so sweet.
But I think with that kind of pie, it's good to use a lattice top to it.
Crust.
So that it just sort of lets all that steam come out and it isn't so runny.
It's jammy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We would have told you to bring a pie. That was one of the prerequisites. Now, next time. So now we got the favorite butter tarts.
I had that for the first time this year when Penny made them.
Yeah.
I haven't had them before, and they were gorgeous.
So is it cake or?
No, I will let Dina explain.
No, you go ahead because I want to hear.
It's just a little. It's sort of like it seemed like it was from the chess pie family, where it's like a sugary sort of noodle, but it's she had a really nice crust, and it was almost it was buttery, but gelatinous is a horrible word, but it was just
gooey.
Yeah, it was like a gooey butter pie.
Yeah.
And so almost like
raisins in it?
No, I had no raisins in the one I had. So they could have been a bit different.
It's so easy to make. You just take melt some butter in a pot, add your raisins, add an egg.
Yep.
And then that's all, but don't cook the egg part in there, and then you just put it into little tart shells.
Oh.
And then you cook it in the oven.
It was easy. So beautiful. Yeah. The really lovely flavor to it. Yes.
Well, because you're using brown sugar. Brown sugar.
Yes. Oh, that would be good. It was sort of like I liked it better than pecan pie, but it was it was sort of like that sort of pie with no nuts in it. It had that sort of.
It's like an egg tart.
No.
Okay.
But I like egg tarts too. Don't get me wrong.
That's more custardy.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. So this wasn't
Portuguese
custardy.
ones are good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Costco has those.
So I've seen them up there. I haven't tried them, but I have tried. There's a few places I really know for them now. In the I think at one of the markets, like the South Melbourne market.
Yes.
And they're really, really
good.
And you eat them, and Gdayall. There's one in the Gdayall market.
I think there's one there that has them, or is that the vanilla slice? They have a really good vanilla slice there.
I know. I was just there 2 weeks ago buying shrimp.
It must be regional because my town, I come from California, is sort of mostly Portuguese, but from the Azores. So we have a lot of linguiça and Portuguese beans, but no, I had never seen a Portuguese tart until I came
Wrong neighborhood.
Well, yeah, so it's different areas. People come, it's like Sicilian food compared to like Milanese food.
Yeah.
So different sort of types.
So now tell us about your Naomi bar.
Oh, Phil.
What?
See, I'm
Cannot
not the only one.
believe
Yes.
you said that way. Have I
Well,
not
that's how
talked to you
it's
before?
spelled.
Nanaimo bar.
Nanoma.
Nanaimo.
Nanaimo.
Well, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have read it off. Just let me talk about
Yes,
it, and then you
please.
wouldn't get your foot in your mouth about it. Nanaimo. Nanaimo is actually on Vancouver Island. It's a place,
Uh-huh.
and actually, my sister was born there, so it's famous for that. And it's also famous because Diana Krall is from there.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, I went to a concert one time in Singapore when we lived there, and my mom came with me, and we were seeing Diana Krall. And do you like her?
Yes, I do.
Love her voice. Anyway, and we saw her, and we were in the audience, and she's saying, and she doesn't talk a lot in her concerts, but a little bit. Anyway, she said, "Is anybody?" I'm from a little place called Nanaimo, and a bunch of Canadians just went, "Wah!" We all just, screamed. Anyway, I digress because Nanaimo. Okay, that's where Nanaimo bars originated. Now, I did look them up just to make sure that was the truth, and they say that there is a little bit of a controversy, but it might have been somebody that came to Nanaimo that already had the recipe, and then they subsequently named it that. But what it is, it's like chocolate wafery kind of bottom with a bit of coconut in it, and graham crackers.
I'm looking at a picture of it. It looks unbelievable.
Actually, you can go online and get the recipe straight off Nanaimo.
I don't bake. Do you know anybody that knows how to make them?
Oh, right. Okay.
I have made them, but they're a bit finicky to make, but I mean, they're worth it. Okay, so they got that bottom, and then in the middle is a kind of a custardy, and you actually use vanilla custard powder in it, so it's got that sort of flavor, and then the top is just melted Hershey's chocolate or whatever on the top, so it's just like a slice or a square. And it was invented there, and I mean, I grew up with them. My mom used to make them all the time. Then I even tried making them here, and actually one time, I was a teacher, and I might get a little teary with this story, but one of my students wanted to give me something as a goodbye because I was subsequently leaving to go to Singapore. It was an unplanned thing that we went back there. But anyway, so I had to say goodbye to all these students that I had. And one of them came to the class, and his mom, I told you I'd do it. His mom and them, the two boys, had made a batch of Nanaimo bars for me. They'd looked up what was Canadian, and they made these Nanaimo bars. It was so sweet, just so sweet.
And they were good?
Delicious. Yeah, you can't go wrong. Anyway, in Nanaimo now, if you go there, they actually have one of those foodie trails where you get an actual map, a flyer brochure, and then you can go around to all these different bakeries and try them all. Like, you have to buy them, but you can try all these different kinds, and they have them with like bacon in them and maple syrup and just all these different kinds. You can also get their traditional, and that's what I did this summer. Is anytime I was somewhere where they had an Nanaimo bar, I'd buy one, and then that's a good one, and that's good, because it is a bit time consuming to make, but it's great to get them from a bakery.
It's sort of like the vanilla slice over here, where everybody competes about who has the best one, and they make a big deal about it.
I can't imagine making a vanilla slice. It looks really hard. Have you made one, Barbara?
I have made one.
Yeah,
but it's actually. Sorry, yes, sir. Similar, where you just I can make a rough puff, but if I was doing this quickly, I just puff pastry, and custard powdered, and mix that with so it makes sort of a custard, but with whipped cream through is how I do it, softer. So it's sort of like this one, which is a French one, and they've done 2 layers. So I've done 1 layer. And I don't put the icing on top. I have to have that now. Icing sugar on it. But it looks difficult. But once you get that the right consistency, and it's terrible to have to play around with that because custard's so awful.
You have to lick the spoon?
Oh, but I think some of the ones you get that are the traditional ones that have the icing on top, that's a real block of custard. So it's like a heavy one.
Yes.
That's why I like the French one better. Because if you put whipped cream through it.
We used to call them Napoleons.
Yes, that's right. True. And that's probably why I like those better, because they're closer to what I grew up with.
Yeah, but they had the topping on them, right? Yeah.
Yes, it did. But it used to have the squiggles of the chocolate on it. So it had the vanilla. Yeah.
So your baby sister said, did she come here a few years ago? Remember, had the thing in the backyard? And she made that outrageous bacon jam.
That was my sister Terry. Terry, and
so
yeah. She makes that.
Back
Yes.
to make that.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was so good. And I tried to make it. Didn't come out
Oh,
as
I
good.
think
I
you
could
told
give you
me.
the recipe from
Yeah,
her.
it's not that
She'd
hard.
let
I
you know.
think
She's
you-
going to listen to this podcast. She'll get back to you.
Okay, great.
Our
Just-
people will talk to your people.
Well, just book a flight. You could come back into Australia as a tourist.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
book
you
a-
can now.
yes.
Apparently, yoo-hoo.
That's right. We could have a big Canada Day. Yeah, Canada Day, like we did the last
July
time
1.
when they were all here. Yeah,
Yeah,
July,
July
1.
1. Well done. Yeah.
Okay, and so now let's go on to things you miss. Well, you can't get homesick now because you just got here.
That's right. I was there and I had all these foods that
Yeah.
well, for instance, I go back and for cereal, Nabisco Shreddies.
Yeah.
I know you have Shreddies in the States,
Mhm.
but they're different. I
It's
don't
like
know.
shredded wheat. You know
Shred-
what we
it's
call
not,
shredded wheat?
yeah, it's the shredded wheat, but they're little tiny squares. They're more like a rice
Yeah.
rice checks,
Yeah.
Right.
but they're made
Yeah,
with
like mini. What do you call them? Mini
Mini
wheat
wheats.
checks. We call now.
maybe mini wheat checks is
Yeah.
like, but then I think they have sugar sometimes, white
Yeah, they
sugar
have
on
sugar
them.
on 'em.
These ones don't. But anyway, this is the brand. It's Nabisco. It's
Mhm.
Shreddies. They're good.
Mm.
I'm more of a granola person now, but as a kid, loved
Mm-hmm.
Shreddies. Another thing you can't get in the States, you can get those tiny little wheat thins,
Yeah.
little crackers, but these crackers are more like a bigger square,
Right.
like a graham wafer kind of size square. And I don't know, Ken just loves them. I bring them
Did you-
back. I
you
bring.
brought 'em back? I was gonna say, did you
I brought-
bring any back
I
with
brought
you?
boxes back.
Mm.
Yeah, I bring boxes of those back.
Mm.
And but other foods that like I miss from Canada, it's more like the home cooking, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
always
that's
my
what it's all
mom's
about.
cooking. My mom makes just yummy things like beet soup,
I wouldn't eat that.
I would love
borscht,
that.
borscht, or whatever,
Yes.
beet soup. Yeah, Ken doesn't like beet, so it's my time to have it. Green split pea soup with ham hock and all that. Now, do
Oh,
you have that in the
beautiful.
States?
Yes.
Yeah.
You do?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
And
but
love
because
it.
I thought that was very French Canadian, actually. Maybe you got it from them. I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe. Yeah, and I like my mom's baking. She makes really great cinnamon buns, and actually, it was my grandmother's recipe on my dad's side that was the one, and my sister still makes that one, and it's really good. You have cinnamon buns in the
Yes.
States, right? But I think every place has a slightly different one,
And
right?
different
Well, you got
seasoning,
the company Cinnabon.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
you eat
yes,
one of
those
those
are
like
too.
3,000 calories.
That's a bit.
Way too
48
gooey.
grams of sugar.
Yeah.
One year when I went home, because Mom I don't get to see her that often, she spent 1 week of making every holiday meal. So we had Thanksgiving, Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, Easter. So it was just,
Oh, cool.
I couldn't button anything up by the end of it. But she's like, I can't do this for you. So it was lovely. And
Yeah.
then you get all those flavors.
Those comfort foods that
and
you
that's
really
it.
enjoyed.
And
yeah.
it's so nice. It's so nice being someone's child too, and you kind of be in the house. It's
And
it's a
something
good feeling.
we didn't actually end up getting together on Christmas Day. Like I was there for Christmas this year, which was very unusual. I mean, we're always only there in the summer,
Yeah.
but we extended it because our granddaughter was turning 2 in January, wanted to be there for her second birthday. So we stayed through Christmas and meant to go down for Christmas Day, but then that old C word did its thing and we couldn't go. So we ended up, Mom made cream puffs on my very last day when I was heading out of town, out back here. And cream puffs are like a profiterole.
Mhm.
You have them in the States
Yes, we
too?
do.
Yeah, my mom makes the best though.
Oh.
She does. I don't know. I've tried making them and they're always down, but hers are really good. That makes me think also of your Yorkshire pudding. Like you all have Yorkshire pudding when you have roast beef dinners and things. That's a,
Not me.
My grandma would make that occasionally, but I
Yeah.
didn't grow up with it, so I don't know what. Originally, my family kind of came from Kansas, so I don't know if they brought that with them.
Mhm.
But my daughter loves them, and
Mm.
I do cheat. I have tried to make them, and I have made them when we were first married, and then Aldi has them, like in
Oh.
the freezer section around
really?
Christmas time.
Oh.
Really?
Yes,
Huh.
and you
Well, I
can
would never
make-
do that because they're so easy to make. But if you have the Joy of Cooking book,
I
it's
do.
It's
I've
the
got it
recipe
right
right in
underneath
there.
there.
That's the recipe. So
What are you looking? I know where it is. You don't know where it is. You don't cook. You don't need to know where it is.
So you got some things on here about Singapore.
oh yeah, when we lived in Singapore, another big one is you have lots of hamburger joints in the
Mhm.
States, right?
Yeah.
But the hamburger one that I grew up with was White Spot. And it started by a guy named Nat Bailey in the 20s. And he had a restaurant, like one of those, I think you could go inside, or maybe you couldn't even go inside. You could only go in your car and have that tray across the window.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
okay,
you
like
used to have,
driving, yeah.
like you have
Kaha.
A&W or something like
Yeah,
that.
A&W comes from my area.
Yeah, so they had that tray across, and you'd have your white spot burger, and their chocolate milkshakes were just delicious. Anyway, this burger has a sauce in it called Triple O, and I that's the name of the sauce. It's sort of a red mayonnaise, but then when you look it up, it's like is a special sauce, secret recipe.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it. People have tried to make it, can't replicate it, sort of thing. Anyway, when we were living in Singapore, right across from our apartment block, they were building this new mall. And finally, when the mall was finished, I went over there and I was looking at all the shops that were in that mall. And I saw Triple O with an insignia that looked like the white spot insignia.
Right.
I thought, no way, it couldn't be. So I walked around and looked for this place, and there it was.
Wow.
It was like you walk in and it's like
I'm home. I'm back.
Yeah, and it had all the pictures on the walls of Nat Bailey and that particular his first shop, because now they're all over Canada.
Yeah.
Mostly
I
mostly
think-
on the West Coast, though.
Yeah, I think your son Chris took us there.
He might have,
Yeah,
probably did.
Because I remember we were in some small town, and he said, we got to go to this hamburger place. We went in, and, you got like your thing and a number, and it was a long, like a counter space was quite long. But, we ate it outside on the benches outside.
Mhm.
But yeah, I remember.
And the thing about that, so anyway, I went in there and I told this fellow, that some young guy just at the counter said, "Oh, I'm from Vancouver and this is my favorite." Got a little bit teary with that guy. And but then I went, many times. But one time when we were coming back to Australia to visit Dan, our son, I brought back some Triple. I went into that shop and I said, "Could I please have just a little container of the Triple O sauce to take with me?" And he let me take it with him, and I took it down there. And yeah, Dan said, "Oh yeah, right," but because it wasn't something he really grew up a lot with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he was a kid, they had something called a pirate pack, where you'd get this cardboard shaped thing in the shape of a pirate ship, and it had the burger in it, it had a little drink with it, it had a little like Dixie thing of ice cream, and it had a little gold coin, like a doubloon, and the kids loved getting that thing.
Oh, I
So
bet.
yeah. So white spots that's a huge one, and actually you don't really have it in the States. They tried, but
No.
it didn't work. But there's a lot in Asia, and apparently the one in Hong Kong actually has it's one of the highest. If they're going to have more people go to that burger joint than any other one,
Oh,
sort of
wow.
thing. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
And like you mentioned also, Tim Hortons. Now, every
Eh,
American hockey, what do you call it, a fan would know of Tim Hortons, but have no clue what it is.
Why would they know? Because it's advertised or
Because
something?
it's always on the boards.
Oh, okay, right.
Every game,
Yeah.
when you watch them play Montreal or whatever, or Vancouver, it's on the boards, and
Yeah.
so the Americans know that, and the Americans know, the whole national Canadian anthem.
Yeah.
Like I can see I can't sing the French, but I can.
Okay, well, Tim Hortons did start in Canada, and Tim Horton, I think, was a hockey player. In fact, I think that's how it started. Now, I'm not sure because it sort of got more popular after we've been gone for 23 years.
Yeah.
I don't really remember it so much when I was younger. Anyway, yeah, it's now owned by Burger King just recently. So my sister says it's not quite the same because, they just changed it. You know how when
the
a big
accountants come in.
conglomerate comes in and they
That's
kind
right.
of change it off a bit. But their donuts are really, really good.
Yeah.
Especially the cake donuts. And they have these little Timbits. And actually, just recently, when I was in Canada, I saw a commercial with Justin Bieber. And he was saying, okay, and there was a commercial about him, and he's got these particular, these little, the donut holes are called Timbits. But these ones are called, now Justin Bieber, Bebits or something?
Beaver Bites.
Beaver Bites or something like that. He changed the name, and there's some sort of like special ones that are just, his sort of concoction. Anyway.
Yeah,
I
Brendan just
digress.
looked up. So he did play Hamilton, Ontario in 1964.
There you go.
There you
There you
go.
go.
Oh, and
Yeah,
we get
and see,
customers asking for the coffee
Well,
all the time.
yes.
Can you get any Tim Hortons?
my
Same
sister.
thing.
Yeah, my mom loves that coffee. Anyway, we better rock and roll if we want to talk about
Yep, keep
what
going.
I miss
Yeah,
from
go ahead.
Please tell
what
us.
I miss
I'm
from.
doing too much.
I used to live in Texas for a few years in the 80s, and things I got used to eating from the States that I had to bring across or whatever. And one of them is Good Seasons Italian dressing. I know you have it at your store,
Yeah.
and I have bought it from there too, just the instant ones.
Mhm.
And my mom tried to replicate it by mixing all these things to try and make it not the same. So that's a good one. Pick a pepper sauce. Now, I know you have a lot of different sauces as well, but that one was the one that we would put in our fajita marinade that I learned from a friend in Texas. She had, soy
We
sauce,
get that from
Worcestershire,
time to
pick a
time. We haven't
pepper.
had it in a while. But
Yeah.
But we do get it.
Yeah, and I don't know what's different about it than the other kind of sauces, but
it's like a Jamaican sauce, so
Yeah.
it's interesting.
It is
So
from
maybe
Jamaica.
is it Scotch bonnet?
Yeah, probably.
So
Yeah.
it might just be the different pepper in it, but that's
Might even,
interesting.
I don't know, who knows what they put in it. Maybe even a little bit of jerk seasoning and
Could
stuff
be.
into
That could
it.
be the knowledge nugget to
yeah.
spice up
Yeah.
your fajitas.
Mm.
A little bit of
And
pepper.
Dr. Pepper was something you couldn't get up in Canada. Now you can, but Dr. Pepper was something I loved when I was
Yeah, especially
liked
in Texas.
when I was in the
That's
States.
the home
yeah,
of Dr.
yeah,
Pepper.
yeah.
But you have Dr. Pepper Margarita?
No.
Oh.
I was just saying I
you
make the best margarita. Oh, well, not not
We'll
anymore.
go to Dina's house
Yeah,
next.
can't-
we
can't-
get the meat pie and the margaritas
and a margarita.
and the other chocolate. What do you call
But
those?
you got to have limeade, and you don't have limeade. Limeade's too hard. Minute Maid, those frozen cans.
the
It's
frozen
too hard
ones.
to get those things in here. So
Well, we're talking about doing frozen soon.
because we
As soon as this dilemma
If
with
we-
shipping goes away.
If we get people asking for frozen orange
Frozen
juice,
orange
this
you
week,
must
Yeah.
do that because I would buy
I
it.
actually made my own concentrate because I wanted to make an orange Julius one. So I sat there and I decanted. It was like a science experiment. So the orange Julius that I enjoyed took me 2 days to make
Oh
because
my.
I had to almost
Yeah.
boil it down. It was but it was good. But yes, we need the
Yeah.
frozen stuffing.
Yeah. No, Texas has their own. Everything's different
Yeah,
in Texas.
and the food. My gosh, when we were living down there, the crawfish and all the Louisiana sort of and the
Catfish.
Tex. But got sick on that once. Can't eat that stuff.
Fair enough.
But the true Tex-Mex
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And of course, nowadays when you go down the States, what do you go to? Trader Joe's.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh, they have so many things in there that I just walk down the aisles and go, oh my gosh, I got to get that. Yeah.
I talk about that the old Trader Joe's before it got bought out by the conglomerate, and how it really was a place you would go into. You never knew what you're going to find, and if you didn't buy it, it won't be there next week
Mhm.
because the guy who actually owned it, just to look for bargains all over the world, bring it in, and I was buying Tui's beer there,
Mm.
for people and my cousins just get upset because I was paying less for it than they would pay for it in Australia.
Oh yeah.
And it was that type of place it was. But now it's like,
And it's got really good. So my mom loves Trader Joe's. There's one at home. It took a long time before it came to my area, and but the people are. She goes, I'm now one of those old ladies in the supermarket. She doesn't like that bit that much, but they will go out of their way to serve her, to help her, and it's just it's a happy place to shop.
Yeah.
And it's exciting when I go home. I go in there and I have a look around and try to figure out what I can eat and take home in the time period that I've got at home.
My sister gets people to bring back the pumpkin seasoning. Apparently, the pumpkin spice from there is supposed to be the best.
You haven't tried mine.
I know you make it. I know, but hey,
we make our own.
You
We
can have a
make
spice
our,
off.
I'll have to try that.
we
Take
also
one
have-
back for Terry.
we
yeah.
also have everything bagel seasoning.
Mm.
Okay, so we're going to talk about 17 traditional Canadian foods you need to try. So we talked about poutine, and we've got Bannock.
Bannock is an Indian, First Nations bread.
Yes.
It looks really
so
good. I
I
got a
learned
picture of
of
it
it as
there.
fry bread.
Yeah,
So,
Fried bread
Let's see.
with bacon on it. Look at the bacon.
I know. Fried
Well,
bread
I don't
is-
even know about the bacon part. I just know that
Well, maybe that's the
yes.
the new.
Well, the
new one.
traditional bannock was
just
First Nations,
yes.
like here. What's the bread that you fry on the fire?
damper,
Something
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
Mm. Then we got the butter tarts,
Which we
we
talked
they
about.
look good, and Nova Scotia
Lobster rolls.
rolls.
Well, I just know that lobster at some point of the year you can have them flown in from Nova Scotia to Vancouver.
So-
Not a lot in flight,
And it's like getting lobster from Maine. It's
and
the
they're
same
not the
area.
same though. Yeah, but apparently they're not the same.
Yeah, it's just sweet. The meat
Yeah,
is sweet.
mm.
And then we got the Montreal style bagels.
They're different than the ones in the States.
Yeah, look a little bit. I did have them
It
over
looks
there.
softer.
I think they're a bit softer. Yeah, than
They
New
got
York
their own
style.
little
Yeah.
tweak on them, and a Saskatoon berry pie.
Saskatoon. Yeah. Saskatoon.
Well, that's all right. You're here to correct my English
He's used
into
to it.
Canadian.
Tiny little berries, tiny little tart berries that you want to probably have in a pie to make them sweet enough.
You
got to
fight the bears to get
but it's
the
like having
berries.
blueberry pie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the Montreal steak style smoked meat, which is that looks like totally different. That one?
Yeah, well, that's what we
No,
talked
that's what
about.
piled
that.
high. Yeah.
Pastrami.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Looks like.
Oh, pea meal bacon. That looked very
Okay.
interesting.
Okay, I think that was where they I mean, you have Canadian back bacon, right?
Right.
They've always called it that. And it's just that part of the bacon that doesn't have any sort of fat on
Yep.
the inside, so streak through. And apparently you're supposed to cook it in some
Oh, okay.
I
It's
don't know.
cooked in cornmeal.
cornmeal or something fried. It sounds different. I never had it.
Well, we only know Canadian bacon from McDonald's.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we used to have, as a kid, I used to get our Hawaiian pizzas. It was Canadian bacon and pineapple. So you had the eye of it. So here, because I like streaky bacon, I said, can you just, before you could buy streaky bacon, I would cut the eye off and just stick it in the freezer and use it later for soups. But
That's basically the eye. It's basically the eye.
But everyone's like, why are you doing that?
They see my family comes here and they think the bacon here is much better.
Ah,
It's interesting.
it
Yeah.
is. It's very different
Yeah.
and all sorts of how you prepare it and everything. Now, we talked about off mic about Beaver Tails. So is that like a donut?
I don't
No,
know.
that's all
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I
Different
know
part of
it's supposed to
Canada.
look like a beaver tail.
I get
you know,
that
Yeah.
bit.
but I don't know
Looks like
because
my
I haven't.
pizza
I think they're
sometimes
back.
comes out that shape.
You know, some of these things are from back east,
Right.
and I'm not. I'm a West Coast girl. Yeah.
So
Me
it looks
too.
like fried.
See, that's right. That's
Yay.
it. That's right.
So some type of fried bread with my favorite Nutella and banana on it.
Keep moving.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
keep moving.
split pea soup. That looks really
Yum.
good. See, look at that. That's the
See,
way it's
you
going to be. That you
have
could stick the spoon in
the
and it
spoon
stands
stands
up.
up.
Well, not that thick, but you stick the. You have Christmas and you have the ham, and then afterwards you take that
Yeah.
bone and you cook it
Cook it.
down with just. It's such an easy soup to make.
It
Just
is.
throw in the split
Absolutely.
peas, bit of onion,
I
bit of
think my
carrot.
mother used to say anybody can make pea soup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now the next one I'm going to say because
Yes,
Yes, please, because I'll
Tear-
totally screw it
even
up.
mine without the accent, I don't have a proper
Like it's not tire.
tier
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
d'érable sur la neige. And now I think it's talking about maple syrup that you put it in the snow
Yeah.
and it gets to be really sticky and like a like a lollipop kind of thing.
Yeah.
And actually, when you go to Vancouver, you can even in Vancouver you can buy it at a certain time of year. The guy will have the snowy kind of thing out there and put it in there. Yeah.
I can
So
tell that
the maple syrup we're one of the highest I think we are the highest producer of maple syrup in the world. I know you have it in Vermont, but I mean it's their life.
Yeah, but
You go back east and you go to these places just at the time when they do the maple syrup
yeah, they spin it,
harvest.
right?
Yeah.
Spin it and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but that looks like really. We
We,
should do that at the ice rink because after
well-
they shave the ice, and the Zamboni comes out
if
like
you
that.
do that, you have to have
There you go.
Owen come because he said, Miss Barbara. I said, yes, Owen.
Yeah. Oh,
His dad is from Texas. His mom's Canadian, and so he said he was missing some American things. That's fine. He's 16, works with us, and he said, "I'm missing the Canadian things now. Can you get pierogi?" And my grandfather,
Pierogies. Mm.
he makes that candy because you make this candy with maple syrup in the snow. Do you know anyone that can do that? And I said, no, but I'll find out. But I
Mm.
can't make it for him. But
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
make sure it's not yellow.
Oh,
Okay, and then we got the ketchup chips.
Yuck. I know. They have different flavors of like you have barbecue.
Yeah.
We have barbecue too, but ketchup somehow was this Canadian. They're
Thing.
saying it's a Canadian thing, but no, they're not good.
Yeah. And I mispronounced this once. I'm not going to mispronounce it again because you're going to do it.
no, I can't do it because you did the Nanaimo bars.
That's right. We
Nice.
talked about those.
I
Okay.
had to think about it, but we've done that.
Now the next one, Poutine Chaumur, I've not heard of either.
Ah. The
Mm.
unemployment pudding. That's what it says here. The unemployment pudding. Literally, that's what it translates to.
From the Great Depression.
Ah, there you go.
Okay.
That looks pretty good too. It has
Okay,
raisins and
so
gooey
syrup.
stuff and ice cream or cream, something on top of it.
Oh, Phil.
Hot syrup. Wow, that's going to be good. And of course, the Caesar salad. Look at it.
Caesar cocktail. Caesar cocktail.
Well, it is a salad. I mean, look, it's not a salad. It's a meal.
Oh.
You got this one here has French fried onion rings on it. and pickles.
Too
it looks like a
much.
burger.
It's not necessary.
Not the same. No.
Yeah.
Especially when you're having lunch or brunch, and then you bring you brunch on top of your drink.
Yeah.
Tortilla.
Tortilla. And
Mhm.
then the game meat.
Yeah, we get venison, and I mean, I've had moose,
Yeah,
not in a
well, that's a
restaurant, but
moose
I mean,
what they show here is a moose taco.
people do, go hunting, but they're, they have licenses and regulations and things. People aren't going off willy nilly, and they're just.
Well, it's similar to having kangaroo or wallaby here.
Yeah, roadkill. In other words.
Well, I know, and venison, of course, is from a farm. They
Yes.
farm it. They farm it like they farm ostrich or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's ends up this. Thank you, Dina, for joining us. We're
Yes,
gonna have to
thank
have you
you.
come back with all your goodies and have you on again. But you got to bring.
Thanks.
But the prerequisite, you got to bring all
Oh,
the.
please. It was lovely having you here. It
Thank
was
you.
great. I would love to have a longer talk sometime when you have the chance, but
We'll share recipes.
that would be wonderful. That's how this all started with Phil
Mhm.
and I sharing recipes.
Okay, so we'll bring that to a pause, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And let's get the vacuum out. We got some housekeeping to
That
do.
is right. So the code for the month of February is hotter than July. And you can find that on the USA Foods website. You can click on the listener discount logo, and those specials will come up. If you want to come down and visit us in Moorabbin, the store is open 7 days a week. You can check the site for hours. Now, you feel free to subscribe, share, and engage with the podcast. So you can subscribe on, whether it's Apple or Spotify, where you listen to us on, or you can talk to us at podcast@usafoods.com.au. And don't forget, I'd like to hear some of your knowledge nuggets. So
Yep.
please bring that in when you can. And who's been to Canada? Good stories.
Yeah. Now you called me up the other day
I did.
and tell me, look what they're doing.
Oh my God. First of all, how excited I was. I got a new computer. I feel so excited at work. So everything's quick and fast. And I thought, I feel like listening to a little bit of music while I'm doing this. I'll put in TuneIn Radio, downloaded the app. Great. So I put a favorite in, put another favorite in. Then it came up with podcasts. I went, right. Oh, I love food podcasts. Clicked it, and we're on it.
Yeah,
We're on
number
the
4
list. That's right.
on the hit parade.
Five.
Five.
That's right.
Well, next week.
And I was just like, we're legitimate. We're really there. And it was, tunein.com, not tunein.com.au. So I was very impressed with that.
Wow.
Global. So let's
Tell you, we're going to be on the. We're getting our own show soon on the radio, the real radio.
that would be frightening.
Maybe we'll be able to go on Spotify.
There's room.
Yeah, there's room. We'll even get Neil Young to promote us.
I am not jumping into this now.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to the food celebration days.
Yeah, so there's a new list with new foods, and it's international. So February list.
Yep. So Friday is Drink Wine Day.
Yeah,
That's
hey. Isn't
Monday
that
to Friday.
That's what I was going to say. Twice
Friday
on the
to Friday.
weekend.
Yeah, and then Sunday is National Cherry Pie Day.
Yes. Now, I was going to give a recipe about how to tart up a cherry pie if you need to do it quickly.
Yeah.
But Dina
Is right here.
is a very good pie maker. So I want to hear her recipe. She's going to give us a crust one, which I'm going to try.
Okay, for the crust, just take 2 cups of flour. Don't use it all save a little bit of that 2 cups to be on the bench to roll, and then just slightly less than about 3/4 of a cup of shortening, vegetable shortening, Crisco. A teeny weeny little bit of salt. I don't put the teaspoon, they say. I just a little dash, and then 5 tablespoons of really cold water. Just take it out of the fridge, and then you just have to. Well, I have one of those slicer pastry
cut-ins,
things, but you can just use 2 knives or whatever and cut it all up. I don't usually use my fingers. I think that might work it a bit too much. Then when you add the water, you just kind of mush it up into being a pastry block, and then just cut it in almost 2/3, and you're rolling that one out. And then when you finish rolling out your top or your bottom, then you take your top and you can make lattice with that part. And then the cherries inside, well, it's a lot easier if you have a cherry pitter, but pit the cherries. I never use canned. And then just put some cornstarch and brown sugar and cinnamon.
Oh,
That's fine.
yum.
But
do
you
cook
have
it
some.
in a pot first?
No.
Oh,
Just but you mix all that together, and then the juices start to flow a little bit. So you kind of have to put enough cornstarch in there so it thickens it up. And I don't have the number on that one. You kind of have to play with that.
And then this is my personal mistake. I always have to stick a baking pan underneath that because sometimes mine bubbles over and
Good
that's
idea.
painful to clean it.
But with the lattice, it doesn't bubble over so much.
Yes, because lettuce is beautiful too. And so what I was gonna say is I put a little bit of almond extract in it. So I like a cherry almond flavor. So that's what I do. So thank you for that. That's perfect. And Tuesday is National Margarita Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, now you have been told that we have to get in limeade.
Limeade, okay.
And then we will have Dina back to make us margaritas, okay? And pie. And
Kids, you need triple sec in there with them.
Yeah, trickle sec.
that's it.
And then a little squeeze of lemon to take away the acidity.
No lime?
No, because you've got the limeade in there.
Oh, okay.
See?
Mm.
Oh, my 21st birthday, my friends took me to Chili's for top shelf margaritas, and my mom had to pick me up that night.
Off the floor?
Off the floor, threw me in the back. Yes. So now I am going to talk about, we've got a personal best product profile.
Yeah.
And this week, not just because we have a Canadian guest, I picked clamato.
All right.
I love clamato. I first was introduced to it by my friends, George and Teresa. Stop it. George and Teresa. George was from Wyoming or Montana. I've lost it now. Wyoming. That's right. So he always had clamato in the fridge. And I said, oh, can I try that? And every time I babysat their son, I ended up finishing a clamato.
And with how much vodka or
No,
tequila?
well, then they would make me they were the best couple to babysit for because they would go out and order a dessert for me and I'd get their leftovers. They were so beautiful. But later on, I'd have that. I never had a Caesar. I only had it straight as juice, but I love it. We have a sweet and spicy one, which had mango in it. We got a little while ago, and they have different flavors they're playing with. But I just like plain old clamato, and it's yummy. And can have it in the cupboard for a while, stick it in the fridge when you're ready to go. And I like the airplane cans myself. When we get the little tiny cans, it makes me feel like I'm going somewhere.
Oh. Okay, now we're going to go to the knowledge nuggets.
Okay.
All right, you could go first.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out how yours works. But okay.
Yeah, mine doesn't.
So, Dina, what these bits and pieces are, this is sort of like if I'm at home and I think of something that's handy, I'll say to my kids, like, Ainsley, come here. If you're ever sauteing something in butter, if you put a little bit of oil in it, the butter won't burn. Just those little things that you get from your mom and grandparents.
20-second tips.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you've already hit it.
Got it.
So if you have bananas and sometimes they look yellow, they look ripe, you got to take a bite. I don't like
greeny.
No, I don't like that. The flavor of them. But if you put your bananas in your fruit bowl with citrus, it hastens up.
Oh, that's why mine always soaks back because we put it in all the time with like where the
so,
lemons are.
So if you want to keep them for a while, like they're just right, do not put them in a different bowl.
Yeah, and it's also another thing. People say you hang them.
Yeah, well, that keeps them less ripe for longer. Yeah, vertical. Or if you really want to speed it up, you can put them in a paper bag with the citrus and just let that go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But usually we end up making banana bread, so it doesn't always happen.
All right, my one is it's a little off the wall. Okay, so
how unusual?
Yeah, well, no, the last one was really good.
It was good.
So you get a ding dong or a ring ding.
Yes.
Put it in the freezer.
Right.
Okay. So now when the kids are over and they got nothing to do and they got like a little hockey sticks, you got a puck. It's keeping with the Canadian theme.
You were cheating. That is cheating. That is not.
I did take a picture one time and put it on the website where I did have a hockey stick with a bite out of a ring ding in front of it because they do look like a puck.
They do.
So if you don't have a biscuit, there you go.
I object. You need to do 2 nuggets next week.
Yeah, okay. And next week's show is famous last meals. How morbid.
Well, no, it's like, it doesn't have to be all morbid because if you had to think, I've got 1 meal left.
Yeah.
What would I have?
And
these are people that actually have 1 meal left.
And they had a long time to think about.
That's right. And just so people don't get worried, we're not going to talk about who they are or what they did. We're just going to talk about the differences in what they wanted, the differences in the meals. So we will not be giving any publicity to awful people.
Okay. So you could do the sign off
I can.
from a famous
So,
Canadian singer.
Jen Arden, who's a Canadian singer-songwriter. If wine is fruit, then vodka must be a vegetable.
There you go.
That's
I
it.
eat my veggies as more as I can.
I like my potatoes with soda.
Okay, and one last goodbye to Dina, and say goodbye.
Au revoir.
Much classier than us. I love it.
Yes.
Stoking coals soothes my soul. I love my barbecue. Understand, I'm just a man with the pork fat baby back blues.